Hey. This is your man, Coach Williams, Southern Utah, with the basketball blueprint. Got my co-host, Rico. What's up, Rico?
How you doing, sir? How you doing today?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. We got assistant coach, Tennessee Owens, with us today from Southern Utah. Welcome, T.O.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming. It's just like that song, Tennessee Whiskey. Your love is sweet. No,
Heard it too many times in the office, man.
Hey, T.O., let's talk about, now his dad couldn't be here because there's a conflict of interest with him being with the Jazz and everything. So let's talk about, real quick, what was it like watching your dad coach when you was a youngster?
It's interesting because, I was born with a ball in my hand essentially just because he was a coach. And back then I had no clue the level that he coached or, where he was at. He started as a minor league coach in the CBA and then the IBL. So now me being 25 years old, knowing that those were really small leagues, probably not getting paid very much money, I appreciate the grind. And, it's interesting because those players and those coaches that I grew up around when he was in the minor leagues were like my idols. And I bet they were making, $300 or $400 a game on average. You know what I mean? So it was good to see it kind of evolve for him and growing up and seeing him coaching all these different leagues in different countries and him taking us with him to live in different places. Just, basketball vagabond. And it's just what I've always known. I don't know anything else. And but it was a great experience. I'm actually happy. I'm really, really happy for him that he's transitioned out of coaching into, the front office just for my sanity. Because for me, I took it, and anyone that knows me really well knows that him going from country to country, working at different places and him getting jobs late took a toll on me. It was stressful. It just was harder on me than I think anybody because I just wanted him to succeed. And, he ended up always having a job, but I still worried just being the high school kid and college kid I was. So, but growing up around the game and around all these different countries of basketball and different styles was pretty surreal.
Nice.
Pretty big, man. So you growing up around that, how's that helped shape like how you view and do what you're doing right now currently?
I think for me, it allowed me to see the game from different standpoints and perspectives and allowed me to learn different styles of basketball. I was never the best player. I played Division I basketball, but playing is not the operative word I'd use. I was just more on the team, and I was on some pretty good teams, but I always wanted to be a coach. And for me, growing up around the NBA, the now what it's called the G League. Back then it was the D League, and then China, which is one of the biggest money leagues in the world, and then just all these other places in Europe and the Middle East. It's helped me understand different styles of basketball. It's helped shape the way I view the game, and because of that, I think I'm in terms of the way I understand the game and know the game. It's helped me as far as being where I am today. I'm not your most traditional assistant coach right now. I'm pretty young, and coach has blessed me with all these really good opportunities. And but it doesn't happen without hard work, and I appreciate all the people around me that notice it. So, but it's definitely helped me as far as understanding the game at probably different levels than someone who just grew up in the States.
For sure, very unique, man. You have a unique position just because of your father's experience and you growing up around it, listening to you, sound like you on it, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been a great experience so far, and it definitely hasn't been easy. Like I bet on myself a couple times already in my short career, and so far it's panned out.
It's gonna keep panning out, man.
I appreciate it.
So when did you know you wanted to be a coach?
I don't even know if there's an exact moment. I was always told by coaches growing up, in addition to my dad, that I had probably an advanced knowledge for the game. Okay. Just as a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old. I was a pure point guard growing up, and then when I graduated high school, I had to find a way to be successful and be able to help a D1 program. So I moved off the ball and was just just a laser. That's the only thing I could really do. But as far as no one win, I think it got really serious probably my sophomore year of college. Okay. I made the decision to leave my first school, which was a D2 school, really good D2 school, Alabama Huntsville. Right. The head coach at the time, Lenny Acuff, who's now the head coach at Lipscomb. Yep. Really good coach. He has his own spin on the Princeton offense. It's just beautiful basketball. But he would always say that I would be a really good coach one day. And I think for me, knowing I wanted to, I probably wasn't going to play professionally. I think when I left the Division II school and transferred to New Mexico State, it became apparent that was going to really help me as far as getting a job, whether it was a GA role. Because, you come from a place as perennial as New Mexico State and playing for Chris Jans, who's now the head coach of Mississippi State now. Absolutely. It definitely helped you kind of maybe stand out from other candidates. So I kind of just decided, I had a really good high school career, and that was good enough for me. I didn't, I could have been a good D2 player is what I've, right. told most people, but I always wanted to coach, and I just knew that this would propel me ahead of others when I graduated.
Makes sense.
So with this, like these different places you've already experienced, and you already have a ton of experience already at a very young age, what is your perspective on like the business of basketball now with NIL? Because you're closer to these kids' age than like Coach Williams and myself, but and you kind of still like right there in that mix with them a little bit. But how do you see the business of NIL and where the game is at now versus where it was at even 5 years ago?
It's definitely changed. I was a hometown kid in New Mexico State, and I wish I was an active player at the time. The change made where players could profit off their name, and because there was all sorts of local spots that I would eat at every day. And I definitely benefited from playing on some of the best teams in the program's history. So, I was the beloved kid at the end of the bench who was always enthusiastic and energetic. And I think I branded myself well to be one of those guys. And people and fans recognize that. So I'm glad I did it that way. As far as the money side and where we're at today, I don't think that anyone would disagree with me when I say there's got to be some sort of, mold or structure to it. Because as most coaches might say in press conferences and podcasts like these, is it's the wild, wild west, and no one knows what is what, and you hear about these numbers and that these kids are making, and some of these guys get fooled by NIL agents and even basketball coaches in programs telling them that they're going to make this amount of money, and then they don't see the same amount that they were told, or even any of it. So, Coach Williams and I can, sit here for 20 minutes rattling off all these players that we know didn't get their money. So, and these were players that we were recruiting. So we just sit there and laugh about it, talking about like, man, should have came here. And so it's definitely changed. There's got to be some sort of reform and structure and maybe a different module that we use. But they went so long without it that it is definitely a reason that they deserve to get paid. So that's my take on it. It's definitely out of control, and but it is what it is. It's just you have to adapt, otherwise you're going to get left behind. And I think that like Coach Williams and Coach Jeter and the other staff members have done a good job of that, because at the end of the day, maybe success doesn't equal winning 100%, but it certainly helps you get good players on your roster. So and that's what it is. It's like the New York Yankees. You're going to have. There's no salary cap right now. So if you have the most money, you're going to have the opportunity and the ability to get the best players.
Absolutely. I should have played baseball. I should have stayed in baseball. The money they making right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Y'all see that contract that just came? The kid got $765 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so imagine signing up to play for one team for 15 years. It's crazy. So,
crazy.
I don't know.
Talk about a little bit, T.O. Talk a little bit about just your experience at New Mexico State, and then tell the people where you got your master's from.
As far as New Mexico State, I really, really enjoyed my experience. I was a hometown kid, and I loved it. I went to high school there. Everybody knew who I was, in the sense that most people tend to go to either New Mexico or New Mexico State or UTEP, and most of the people that I was really close with ended up going to New Mexico State. And then, Yeah, it was a great experience. The basketball was awesome. It was the golden age, and since Lou Henson left, and obviously, like my dad is close with Marv. He did a great job here, but I think even he would tell you like the difference in dominance is apparent from what Marvin went to the tournament every single year. Coach Jans went to the tournament every year, but went in 30 games a year. So losing is not something that I'm used to, and so like obviously last year was tough for us, and year one is something that I've never experienced in my life in a program, especially as a coach or even as a player, and so that was different for me, and it taught me a ton about the difference between New Mexico State and here, and just the challenges that different programs present. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and then I got my alternative teaching certificate from a school. I can't even remember the name of it was like West Tech out of New Mexico. But yeah, I got a little. So that's like technically my master's is an alternative teaching degree. So if I ever wanted to teach, I can go get it. I can go get a job teaching. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. How old are you, T.O.?
I'm 25.
Man, you just graduated college, man.
Not too long ago, right?
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's been great.
So talked about where are you going with this, right? So you 25, bro. You got your life ahead of you. You done played. You have these experiences. Your experiences with your dad. You primed for success, right? It's just more about what is your path, though, because clearly your dad is an inspiration, but I'm sure you got your own kind of North Star.
Yeah,
right?
I think anyone who's in this line of work wants to be a head coach one day at some point in their life. So at some point in their career, they'd like to be the one that calls the shots. But I understand. I'm 25 years old. A lot of guys don't get their first head coaching job until their 40s or 50s. And a goal of mine, I've always wanted to be a head coach by the age of 30. That's kind of a goal I set out when I graduated college, and I just figured that the younger you are a head coach, the more you'll experience, the more you'll learn. But there's no pressure on this for me. Like that was what I really respect and appreciate about my dad is that he would always joke like if you want to be a ballerina, go ahead and be a ballerina, and I'll support you. So he never forced me to do this. He never encouraged me. I mean, he encouraged me, but he never pressured me to pursue basketball. If anything, he's actually told me not to do it because of the volatility and the backstabbing that there is in this business. It's pretty brutal. But just from being around coaches who have been here and done that, like Coach Williams and Coach Jeter, they've taught me all sorts of things just about like the good things. The good things happen to good people, and it always comes back around for those that do things the right way. And so for me, I don't know, man. I've always had interest in all sorts of types of basketball, being an agent, being in the front office, being more of just a player development guy. And, that's it. I'm excited to see where it takes me. I'll tell you this right now. I don't want to work for anyone else at the moment. I really like what we're building here. And whether, I'm 25 or 30, I just don't see myself at this very moment in the foreseeable future working for anyone other than Coach just because of the responsibility he gives me. And I'm sure that there's so many coaches that he's been around and Coach Williams as well, where they have a young guy out there that doesn't do anything. There's guys out there who the head coach of a Division I basketball program would never give their trust to someone at my age with the things that he trusts me to do. So that's why I love it here because I get to learn so much. It's made me a better coach, and it's taught me so many things about how to run a program for when ultimately, hopefully, I get my own shot.
No, I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, Coach Jeter is big time, man. Just not just as a coach, man. He's a heck of a coach, but he's a heck of a man, and you can learn a lot from him. And so while we're talking about him, just tell us how have your experience been working for Coach Jeter and working with the rest of the staff?
It's funny is now that I've known him for a year, I'm surprised he hired me. Because he only really hires people he knows, and he knew someone that knew me. But like just as anyone, these jobs are impossible to get. Like whether it's a GA job or an assistant coaching job or volunteer role, head coach. I mean, these jobs are so hard to get. That's what I've learned. The amount of times I've been told no by coaches, I could go on and on and on and on that I'm close with. So, for Coach to take a leap of faith on me just based on, another person, Brandon Mason, vouching for me, which I'm forever indebted to, I just can't thank him enough because from the jump, one thing Coach does is he listens. He delegates a lot to his staff. he's got no ego in the sense that, like, everyone has some sort of ego, but his is non-existent in the sense that, like, he's not a micromanager. He gives you all sorts of opportunities to get better at this, and he expects a lot of you at the end of the day. Like, there's a lot of things that he'll never tell you needs to be done, but he expects to be done. So, but for me, like, he's never said one thing about my player development, where there's a lot of coaches that probably, that might say something just because they want their hands on everything. And, he's given me scouts. He, trusts me with all these, different things and entities within our program. And so that's why, I trust and respect him so much, because from the jump, when I got hired, I was 24. He took a leap of faith and trusted me from minute one. And so my experience has been just, surreal. I love waking up and going to work every day. Coach has a great balance in his life where he allows, you to still separate coaching from your personal life, which is, you just never know who you might work for. It's sometimes it's different. But the whole thing with coach is, like, you're going to work until the work gets done, and he expects it to be done. And then because of that, he trusts you. And that's why I'm like, I don't know. I just respect him so much. I love working for him. Every day in the office is fun for the most part, unless you're coming in after a loss. But so far, so good.
Yeah, he's big time like that, man. He same with me. He normally hired people that he knows, and because of the connection we had with different people, like a Nick Irvin, my agent, his brother hung out with my god brother, and it's just so many pieces came together for me, and I'm in debt for him forever for getting me back in the business after being out for 13 years on the Division I level. I was coaching JUCO, but I'm in debt to him forever, man. I love him to death, and I really appreciate him. And he don't micromanage, and we're in a better place right now, 8-3, and prayerfully and hopefully we keep rolling, and then we will keep seeing this happier side of him.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year we were 3-8, and we had already lost 3 or 4 games at the buzzer. So, like, it was exhausting, and it's just so many things of, like, what ifs, last year. So definitely feels good to be on the other side of it this year.
So, T.O., like, just because Coach Williams sitting in front of you, you don't have to lie to our audience. You could tell the truth, right? How has your experience been with Coach Williams, and how has he helped you as you've grown into your role, though? You know what I mean? Because you've been 24, 25 now. Yeah. How has he been a part of your maturation as you becoming who you are now?
I think for me, I have never recruited one player when I got hired here, and so seeing him do it every day, sitting in his office talking on the phone. I mean, I'd kill to know what his screen time is. I mean, it's probably like 15 or 16 hours a day. It's pretty impressive, honestly. And then, like, so there's just things that you pick up on relating to players. And then one thing he does do is he incorporated me into the recruiting aspect of putting together itineraries for visits and working guys out whenever they come on visits and getting to sit next to recruits because, he trusts me to converse with a player that we're trying to get to our team. And, that's big. Sometimes, there's probably people out there that want to just be with him the whole time because they only trust themselves. And for me, he's done a lot as far as, like, teaching me how it works in terms of it's just relentless. You can't stop. Sure. I mean, he's been working on 26s, and I'm sure he's talked to some 27s and 28s. Like, it's nonstop. So eventually, when you get into these big time jobs, when you're a Power 5 assistant making all this money, that is what you do. And it's nonstop. You got to go to these events. And so it's the grind of recruiting and getting players for your team and being creative as far as just finding players and finding people that have players in addition to looking for, money for your NIL collective. Like, he's taught me a lot in that aspect. And, he still gives me a lot of responsibilities, day to day. And he trusts me. Like, coach never bats an eye at what I do. And because of that, I respect it. A lot of these people don't have any business or reason at the start to trust me at this age, but that's the best part about this staff is it's so egoless, and no one has any personal agendas that people get to thrive in their roles.
Yeah, I was a young coach at San Jose State with a lot of responsibility, so the recruiting part in this business is huge, and me and him talk a little bit about recruiting and man, he coming to me like, man, I got a player. I was like, well, go with your gut. You know, if you feel good about it, let's watch him. And if you feel that good about it, offer him. You know, because Coach Jeter give us a lot of leeway with recruiting. And, you know, he tells me, you like a kid, go offer him. I trust your eyes. I trust you. And so I want to do the same for him. And, you know, in this business, you're never too old to young to learn. And so I'm learning stuff from him, too. Being a younger coach, and, you know, he helped me with some stuff with my scouting stuff when I'm doing scouts and stuff like that. So the feeling is mutual, man, and, you know, he helps me just as much as I help him. So, and that's really what it comes down to, and it's all about at the end of the day. So, T.O., we play in New Mexico State on Monday, December the 16th. How you feeling about the game, and then just how you feeling about just being home?
I'm excited. It's I don't get to go home that much anymore. Luckily, like I said, we work for, you know, and for such a good person that you know, in the summer you get to go home for a little bit if you need to or feel like you want to get out of town. So I got to go home in the summer or in the spring, and I really enjoy being home. But this is a little different. You know, I didn't play for the current coach, and I didn't play for the one before that. I played for two coaches before, but it doesn't. I don't know exactly what the feelings will be when I walk in there. To the visitors' locker room, a place that I walked by every single day to go to my locker, and so it's gonna be weird. You know, I don't know. There's just so many people there that I have to thank, and that I'm so close with that are still there. Because one thing about New Mexico State is that people love it there. You know, you don't leave because it's such a good, you know, work environment, and you know, so there's a lot of people that still work in the athletic department and the training staff, and you know, even I've got former teammates on the current staff. And so, like, I'm sure it'll be weird. It'll be some mixed emotions, you know, not walking, you know, because they run down the stairs when they enter the building. So it'll be weird not doing that. It'll be weird going down the big spiral staircase in like the hallway. But I'm excited. It's, you know, I feel like one thing about this year is we have a good team to where not only am I excited to go home, I'm excited to play them.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not easy winning there. Coach knows, anyone that knows college basketball more than the average person knows, that's not an easy place to win. And so I'm excited. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a cool experience. I get to see my family. They'll get to watch me coach. My dad, this will be his second time watching me, but I think it'll be my mom's first time watching like a regular season game.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be really cool. Wish my grandfather could have been here for that game. He just recently passed away, so he'll be up there in spirit. He was such a big piece of New Mexico State University just in general. So, but it's okay. I'm excited, and it'll be really fun. Hopefully play well enough to give ourselves a chance to win.
Man, Rico, I'm not going on that trip because I ain't never won at Los Cruces, so I don't want to take that energy up there.
Oh, not jinx them, bro.
And then Rio Grande, they won last year without me there, so I'm going recruiting.
Good
Go
choice.
get some more players, bro.
Good choice. Yeah, go get some players. Yeah, that's a hard trip. That's a trip you don't want to go on. It's the one where you're going to damn Edinburgh, which is the most impossible place to get to. It's on the moon, so like it's hard to get there, and it's an advantageous. It's advantage for them. You know, it's just like ours with playing at this altitude. So, but I'm excited. It should be really fun. It'll be good to be there for a couple nights and get to enjoy being back home.
We getting a dub or we not?
Yeah, I mean, what you want me to say? Nah, we got no chance.
I like it.
No, it's my scout.
Speaking it into existence.
It's my scout. We've had a week to prepare for them. So I've been watching them for a while. I watch, most of the games. I'm still, whoever the coach is, it doesn't matter. I'm going to support my alma mater. So it was weird scouting New Mexico State, play UNM, and then still hope New Mexico State won the game. Because, it's such a huge win for them that, like, now the coach in you is like, damn, now they got some momentum. But then, like, the alumni in you is like, yeah, that's right. We went to UNM and beat them at the pit. So it's a different dynamic it's been so far for the last, week or so when I started diving into their stuff.
Hey, our last question for you, and I'll give Rico a chance to chime in on this question too. What do you think is some of the biggest reason that this team has a chance to be better than last year's team?
That's a good question. Aside from the fact that I just think we have better players, I think it's just the feeling that you get when you walk down to the practice floor and you feel that the guys are close. From minute one, that they all arrived on campus, you notice that they gravitated towards each other. I wasn't a player last year, so I don't know how close the guys were last year, but we've all heard some stories about how it was maybe a little bit cliquey. And we still have good kids on our team. We're not going to recruit bad kids. But you just never know how the dynamic of a team will unfold over the course of a season. But you can tell that it's different this year. So this team has a chance to be special in the regards of them just being super close. They hang out with each other. I think they really, really like each other. You can feel that on the floor. Something we didn't have as good as we have this year is the bench. You know what I mean? Not only are we deeper, but the guys enjoy rooting for each other, and they sing each other's praises, and they're happy for one another when another player has success. Which is, I think, especially when a player that is that you play the same position, and they're scoring, and you're not on the floor, and you're still happy for them. It's different. It's the type of stuff that makes the hair on your arm stick up, because that's the makings of something special. And you never know. Special can be winning 15 games. Special can win 25 games. It's all about the feeling. But I think everyone knows we're better, and I think the how close they are and how tight knit they are as a group. It's evident.
Yeah. I love it. So listening to you, that's a big deal, man. Like the team, the players actually liking each other, getting along, that matters so much, right? So hearing you say that, and you can feel that, because you can't fake that.
No, you can't. Right? It's easy to fake. It's easy to tell when it's fake.
Yes, you can see right through when it's like, man, that's not real. They not really liking each other, and you can see it in little instances on the court. So yeah. I think that right there is going to help you guys win. I think that may be the difference maker. And obviously, like you say, you guys do have better players.
Yeah,
right?
There's some better players out there on the floor. That's for sure.
Yeah, we had our last guest is our leading scorer, Jameer.
Is he the leading scorer? He's the leading scorer? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
he's a good player, man. He's made Dom better. Dom averages, I think 2 points less than he did last year. But if you look at his splits, they're all higher. He's shooting 45 from the field. He's shooting 38 from three. He's shooting like 84 from the line. Last year, he shot 43 from the field and 33 from three and 70 from the line. It's just when you're playing with people that are better, and it doesn't it doesn't force you to have the ball in your hands where 5 defenders are watching you. It makes you a better player. And the older you get, the more things you know, and you can't teach experience, and you tend to get better with age, and especially in college basketball. You can go look at any player on ESPN and search their splits as from year 1 to year 4. Well, now it's year 9. Some of these guys can play 9 or 10 years in college, so but they tend to get better over time, and that's evident with Dom. And Jameer's helped him with that. Jameer's a huge part of that. Also, Tavy. Tavy's a big time player, and he leads by example, really. But yeah, like you said, it is so important to have guys that like each other, because then it translates to the floor. I think it's like for when I eventually hopefully become a head coach, like that'll be the biggest thing that I look at in the beginning when it comes to whether I think our team could be good. I mean, are they close with each other? And I think that's a telltale that your team has a chance. And I think that's what we see every single day.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Tio, why don't you tell the people where we can find you at? What's your socials? Like, where can people find you, look you up?
Oh man, everything is just Tennessee Owens. So I've lived my whole life people not knowing how to spell my name, so they can just look it up on their own. Tennessee Owens. So Instagram and Twitter. I don't post much on either, really. Sometimes I'll post a couple photos on my Instagram story, but Twitter. When you're not a player, there's just less for you to talk about. You know what I mean? Right. So most of my Twitter is me just liking actions I like on to show gutting that I want him to put in.
Yeah,
he doesn't put any of them in. He only puts in like maybe 1 out of every 10 I show him. And that's probably because I show him about 20 a week. So, but yeah, that's where you guys can find me. But yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you. I'll see you in practice in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, we got practice in 30 minutes. Let's try to get better.
We'll be back on the Basketball Blueprint. Hey, everybody. Coach Williams. Welcome back to the Basketball Blueprint. So I just had a lot of fun with Coach Tennessee Owens. We have a good time as a staff, man. We really do. Coach staff is great. The players been really good this year, and hopefully we can keep rolling. So my second special guest today is we're going to go ahead and let Rico talk a little bit about the things that he's doing, man, and he's doing some great things right now. So Rico, why don't you talk about the different things you're doing, like with your school that you started, the things you're doing with Rob, and the things you're doing with Cypress Sports.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Coach. Well, this thing started with me, obviously on my journey as a player, and just, my love for the game and me being blessed to play college basketball at Pfeiffer University, being blessed to be two-time All-American, being blessed to be able to go on and play professionally in Europe from there. And then also, being inducted into the Hall of Fame at Pfeiffer. So some really cool accomplishments that basketball has afforded me. And it's led to what is that next phase of my career, right? Because this ball ain't going to bounce forever, right? So started training players. That led to starting an organization, which we grew from one team to 28 teams in a matter of 5 years, which led me to where everybody knows it ain't no money in coaching in grassroots in high school. So that, me being an entrepreneur and hustling, I had to figure out ways to create revenue. And I started leveraging the size of my organization to host tournaments, right? And when I started doing that, that's when I really started to drive revenue and start to understand more of the business of basketball and in the grassroots space. Around that time is when I met Rob Dillingham. I knew Rob since fourth grade, but I literally connected with him and his dad while Rob was in middle school. And at that time, I was in the middle of my organization. I'm training players. I'm in full swing of doing tournaments and the whole nine. And Rob's dad approached me, saying that he needed help with his son in the sense of it was COVID, gyms were shut down. Nobody can really get in the gym. You had to use masks. And just me being in basketball my whole life, I'm blessed to, I never not had access to a gym, especially in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So having the keys to the gym, I was fortunate to be able to keep Rob training and playing, and I would organize pickups for him just to come hoop and work out. And he was on a schedule at an early age when we started. That's why I think he's able to sustain what he's sustaining, because he's been on that type of regimen his pretty much since middle school. And, that led to me helping with everything. That led to me reaching out to you. Hey, can you help me with this kid's recruiting? Remember me calling, he was in the middle school, and I'm screaming to the world, hey, this kid is special. I need help me. And you were one of the ones who really, really, supported me and really used your networking relationships to start to make some calls. And, that's how we began to get Rob's recruiting off the ground, Obviously, Rob's always been special. I can take zero credit for his skill development. I've been very important to Rob in the sense of just structure, right? Just feeling a safe place, right? To where he knows I got his back 1,000,000%. I'm not perfect either. I had some learning curves I had to learn along the way. And the fact that he's given me the grace to learn along this journey, I'm just truly blessed to be in that spot with him. So, Rob having his success and going on to Kentucky, leaving North Carolina first, going to Donda, then, Donda happening the way it happened when Kanye got into the anti-Semitic stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Rob would have stayed. Rob is a very loyal kid. He would have stayed. The only reason he left was because events started kicking him out of the tournament, and it was his senior year. Mm-hmm. He wanted to have a senior year, right? And that's understood. So, at that time, I'm blessed to have a very good relationship with Mike Law. I call him Uncle Mike. He's literally all things, everything to everyone. Everyone just trusts Uncle Mike. And
absolutely.
Uncle Mike connected me to Overtime Elite. And that's how we negotiated Robert's Overtime Elite contract and situation. And, he finished up his senior year at Overtime Elite. which was really good for him, right? He had some adversity he faced there, but I think that prepared him for even what he's facing now, but more so just gave him a leg up getting prepared for Kentucky, you know? And so I was blessed to be involved in all of that. And people don't know this, Coach, but I'll say this. I call, Rob I call it the Rob Dillingham rule. When before Rob went to OTE, kids couldn't be McDonald's All-Americans, right? It just, OTE was still too new. It was like year 2 of it. They had just pivoted to transform from like being a all-pro thing, right, to where they started doing the scholarships and offering financial aid so that they could do NIL. Essentially, still the kids are getting paid, but they just restructured it. And Rob was a part of that first class. Rob, and there was another kid as well that went on to Stanford as well that was a part of that first class that came in and actually made NIL and went on to college, right? But before Rob, there was no kids there that went on to like a Kentucky or something, right? Coach Calipari had not been in that facility. So, through Rob, we also wrote a letter to McDonald's All-Americans trying to for them to really consider him because everybody knows that kid deserved to be a McDonald's All-American, you know? Right. And just because of the situation with OTE was still too new, he wasn't. But 1 year later, kids can now go to Overtime Elite and become a McDonald's All-American. I'd like to think Rob Dillingham had a huge part in that, right? And if you talk to the leadership and the hires up at Overtime Elite, they would tell you that as well, because he was the highest and most popular kid that they had. The Thompson twins, everybody already knew those guys were going to be pros, but they still didn't have the popularity that Rob had with the fans and the community, right? So that was a unique experience with Rob, and then him obviously going on to Kentucky and having that year that he had, which he had some challenges there, some adversity, but he overcame it. And, him being blessed to get drafted number 8, man, this has been a unique journey. The way we went about our business was, we started the management company that I 100% own and control. Rob's a client. He cannot have no ownership in any type of business like that. So he's just a client of the management company. And because he's my one and only client right now, obviously not a bad client to start with, And we partner with Clutch Sports, and they handle his NBA contract. And I'm learning a lot through Clutch, through Rich Paul and Lucas Newton and Calvin Andrews. I'm learning a lot, So just blessed to be in the situation I am with, having the management company. And not gonna lie, definitely was a bit crazy starting the school this year. It was a bit crazy. But I just felt it was necessary, man. It was on my heart. And I just feel with, everything I've done in my career and what I'm trying to do, I need to be vertically integrated. So therefore I'm not ever recruiting kids. I'm developing kids. You know what I mean? That's my mission. And so that's what, God put it on my heart to start the school. And CPI, which stands for Charlotte Performance Institute of Sports Technology and Business. Me being in California for 3 years with Rob while he was out there with Donda really opened my eyes to just the business of the way I set the school up. My inspiration comes from an academy that I actually ran while in California. I was the director of basketball at DNA Prep Academy. And that is where the inspiration for the school started. I'm still very tied in with DNA Academy, still very close with the owner, Paul Holyfield, and now the director of basketball, Frank Robinson, who is doing an amazing job building that program. But that's where my inspiration come from, the school, and we got way bigger plans, that we're planning. And I'm just excited for the future, man, with everything happening. And obviously I have a son who is now a freshman. He plays for me at the school. I was the head coach, but I fired myself.
That was probably a good idea.
It was a great idea. I'm too close to it, Coach. I'm too close to it. So I had to fire myself and just play my role within the school, right? My role with the school is to make sure that the coaches have the resources that they need to lead these young men down this path, right? And, part of my role is connecting with guys like yourself, Coach, and trying to help my kids that are seniors and juniors to become recruitable kids, And I'm just teaching them that this thing is about trust, man. Someone like yourself not going to offer a scholarship to a kid just because of our relationship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is your livelihood, your job on the line. So I explain that to my kids and I talk real with them, right? So where they ain't no way to avoid the hard work. Hard things are hard, So, that's a long-winded spiel, I know, through the journey of how I got to where I'm at now. Obviously, there's so many more details within that. I have so many stories that I could share, but all grateful, all blessed for the experience,
Now, how's your school doing right now?
Yeah, we're doing not very well with record wise. I think we are in the spot that you guys were in last year. We are like literally 3-8 right now.
First year program, absolutely.
Yep. So first year program, honestly, this year, Coach, this was proof of concept year for me, right? My mentor, business partner, OG, big brother, everything to me. This man has been a rock for me, Ulyss Payne Jr. Ulyss is the owner of Cyber Athletix, and, he made me a part owner of the company as well after a few years of just sweat equity and helping build the company. But this is where I've learned to be a better businessman through Ulyss and what it takes to really build a business. It's really hard. And I've saw what we've done with Cyber Athletix and where it's at right now. And it helped me to get CPI off the ground. And year one for me, like I said, is proof of concept. So I'm selling exposure. I'm selling to kids and families, hey, you come in here to get better, and I can get the eyeballs on you to expose you to a bigger audience, right? And if you are blessed enough and talented enough, we can have conversations with college coaches because we have the network, we have relationships to make those calls, right? We can't wave a magic wand, but we're blessed to be able to have a conversation, which is the value to me that I'm telling kids and families that they need guys and allies and people like me to support them, right?
Absolutely.
And yes, this obviously is a business and people want to make money. I want to make money too, but not at the expense of a kid's career, right? Not at the expense of a kid's eligibility, right? So you have to have some discipline. You have to have, some morals and some character to really sustain this space, right? Very tough competitive space. But year one, proof of concept, we have a national schedule. We've already traveled to Tennessee. We've been to California. We're going to Florida this weekend. We're going to New Jersey this month as well. So I've really created an experience for these group of young men that they haven't had before. And, for me, it's really showing them that this thing is really bigger than basketball for real. The basketball is just what's bringing us together, right? But the experiences and the brotherhood, the culture we're building, that's what's important to me, right? Because these kids going to go on and who knows where they'll end up, but they know they'll have a supporter for life in CPI and in Era Sports Management to where we will always wrap our arms around our kids, right? They won't be out here looking for jobs or not knowing without no direction. We're going to 100% provide that guidance for every kid that comes through our program, So it's been good in year one. Year two, we'll look to improve the model and recruit better talent for sure.
Gotcha. Well, tell Ulyss I said, what's up? And,
yes, sir.
And we need a little more money. Tell them that.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, we on it. So it's funny you bring that up, right? Because he's 100% on my line and on my behind. Like, hey, we already engaged Southern Utah and some players, and it's on me to see those deliverables through. So it's on me to tighten up so that we can get some more money.
Yeah, man. Well, tell everybody, man, I got to get ready to head out here for practice. Tell everyone where they can find you at.
Yes, sir. So you can find us on Instagram, ERA Sports Management spelled out. You can find us on Instagram with CPI period STB is where you can find us on Instagram for the school, and also on the Twitter as well. That's where you can find us at from the school component. And then also follow us at Cyber Athletics.
Okay.
We are the smart behind the sweat.
Sweet, sweet. Well, everybody, this is me and Rico about to be signing out. We will be back in January. Hope everyone have a blessed Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we will see you guys again in January. Thanks, everyone.